I thought I knew what family drama looked like until my sister-in-law tried to sabotage my pregnancy out of pure jealousy. After 3 long years of trying to conceive David, and I finally got our miracle. I was over the moon, glowing with happiness, planning our future as parents. Amanda, my sister-in-law, seemed genuinely excited too, offering support and sharing pregnancy tips from her own experiences with little Emma and Jake. But something shifted in her eyes the day we announced our news. Something cold and calculating that I initially brushed off as concern. Before I dive into this story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit that like button if you have ever dealt with family drama, and do not forget to subscribe because this gets absolutely wild. Trust me, you will not see this coming. David and I had been married for 4 wonderful years, but those 3 years of trying to conceive had tested our patience and faith. Every negative pregnancy test felt like a small heartbreak. Every month that passed brought more questions from well-meaning relatives about when we would start our family. Meanwhile, Amanda had been married to Michael, David's younger brother, for 6 years and already had 2 beautiful children. Emma was 5 years old with bright blue eyes and endless energy, while 3-year-old Jake was the sweetest little boy who called me Aunt Nini. Amanda and I had grown close over the years. She was the sister I never had someone I could confide in about everything from marriage troubles to career decisions. We would spend hours on the phone discussing parenting tips, even though I was not a parent yet, and she would always reassure me that my time would come. Our families gathered every weekend for barbecues, birthday parties, and holiday celebrations. Amanda was often the organizer, the one who brought everyone together with her infectious energy and warm personality. When that second pink line finally appeared on the pregnancy test during my 6th week, I could barely contain my excitement. David and I decided to share the news at our weekly family barbecue that Saturday afternoon. The whole family was there, including David's parents, Margaret and Robert, who had been not so subtly hinting about wanting more grandchildren for years. As David stood up to make the announcement, my heart was racing with pure joy. "Everyone, Renee and I have some exciting news to share," he began, his voice trembling with emotion. "We're going to have a baby." The reaction was everything I had dreamed of. Margaret burst into tears of happiness. Robert jumped up to give David a bear hug, and the kids started cheering without fully understanding why everyone was so excited. But when I looked at Amanda, something felt off. Her smile seemed forced, almost painted on, and there was something in her eyes that I could not quite identify. She walked over and gave me a hug, saying all the right words about how happy she was for us, but her embrace felt cold and mechanical. "Congratulations, sweetie," she whispered in my ear, but her tone lacked the warmth I was used to hearing from her. Over the next few days, I noticed Amanda's behavior begin to change in subtle ways. Our daily text conversations, which used to be filled with funny memes and random thoughts, became shorter and less frequent. When our family group chat buzzed with excitement about baby plans, Amanda would respond with simple thumbs-up emojis instead of her usual enthusiastic messages. 2 weeks after our announcement, Amanda suggested we go shopping for maternity clothes together. I was thrilled to have her expertise and company. But as we walked through the baby stores, her commentary took an unexpected turn. "You know, pregnancy can be really tough," she said while examining a maternity dress. "My friend Sarah had such a difficult time. Morning sickness for months, terrible back pain, and she gained way too much weight." At first, I thought she was just trying to prepare me for the realities of pregnancy. But then she continued with more stories about complications, difficult births, and postpartum depression. Another friend of mine, Jessica, had to be on bed rest for the last 3 months. She was so miserable and couldn't even take care of her other kids. Every story seemed designed to highlight the potential dangers and difficulties rather than the joys of pregnancy. During our shopping trip, Amanda kept pointing out expensive items and making comments about how much babies cost. "You have no idea how much money you will spend on diapers alone," she said while looking at a cute onesie. "And do not even get me started on daycare costs. Michael and I are still struggling to pay for Emma and Jake's expenses." As we continued shopping, Amanda shared more concerning stories about friends who had experienced miscarriages. "Actually, my cousin Lisa lost her baby at 12 weeks. She thought everything was fine, but then, at her appointment, there was no heartbeat. She said this while we were looking at tiny baby shoes, and the timing felt intentionally cruel. I started feeling uncomfortable, but I tried to give Amanda the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she was just worried about me and trying to make sure I was prepared for all possibilities. After all, she had been through pregnancy twice and probably wanted to share her wisdom. The following week, Amanda began sending me articles and links about pregnancy complications. The first few seemed harmless enough general information about staying healthy during pregnancy. But then, the articles became more specific and alarming. She sent me a piece about advanced maternal age, even though I was only 28. "I just want you to be informed," she texted along with an article about increased risks for women over 25. She also started asking very detailed questions about my symptoms during our phone conversations. "Are you having any cramping? Any spotting? You know, those can be warning signs." When I mentioned normal pregnancy symptoms, like fatigue or mild nausea, she would respond with stories about how those same symptoms preceded complications in other women she knew. Amanda's concern seemed genuine on the surface, but something about her tone and timing felt wrong. She would call me late at night to check on how I was feeling often, waking me up and then keeping me on the phone discussing potential problems. "I just could not sleep thinking about you," she would say. "I wanted to make sure you were not having any issues." During family gatherings, Amanda began making subtle comments about my pregnancy that seemed designed to undermine my confidence. "You know, Renee, you should not get too attached too early. The first trimester is really risky." She would say this in front of other family members, making me feel like I was being naive or overly optimistic about my pregnancy. As I entered my 8th week of pregnancy, Amanda's behavior escalated from subtle undermining to more direct interference. She announced that she wanted to throw me a surprise baby shower, which seemed sweet until I realized who she had invited. The guest list consisted entirely of women who had experienced pregnancy loss or complications. The shower itself was a nightmare disguised as a celebration. Every conversation seemed to revolve around traumatic birth stories or miscarriage experiences. "Oh, you are having a baby," one woman said. "I lost 3 before I finally had my daughter. You just never know what might happen." Another guest shared graphic details about her emergency cesarean section and postpartum complications. Amanda orchestrated these conversations with surgical precision, steering every topic toward negative outcomes. When someone tried to share a positive pregnancy story, she would quickly interrupt with a "but," followed by another tale of woe. "That sounds wonderful, but my neighbor had a similar pregnancy and ended up with severe preeclampsia." During the gift opening portion of the shower, Amanda accidentally spilled orange juice all over the new maternity dress I was wearing. The stain was bright and obvious, ruining the photos and making me feel self-conscious for the rest of the event. "Oh my goodness, I am so clumsy," she exclaimed, while handing me paper towels that only seemed to make the stain worse. Throughout this period, Amanda began making comments about my age that felt deliberately hurtful. 28 is getting up there for a first pregnancy, she would say in casual conversation. My doctor always said it is best to start having children in your early 20s when your body is in peak condition. She knew that David and I had been trying for 3 years, making her age-related comments particularly cruel. Amanda also started recommending various pregnancy activities that seemed helpful on the surface but were actually dangerous. She suggested specific yoga poses that I later learned could cause complications, recommended hot baths that could raise my core temperature to unsafe levels, and even suggested certain essential oils that were not safe for pregnant women. When I entered my 12th week, Amanda gifted me a pregnancy guide called What to Expect When You Are Expecting. I was touched by the gesture until I opened the book and discovered that she had highlighted every single page about potential complications, miscarriage statistics, and birth defects. The positive sections remained unmarked, while the scary parts were emphasized with bright yellow highlighter and handwritten notes in the margins. Around week 14, Amanda organized a dinner party at her house and invited both our families. The menu consisted entirely of foods that pregnant women should avoid. There was sushi with raw fish, various soft cheeses, and multiple dishes containing high levels of mercury. When I politely declined most of the food, explaining that I needed to be careful about what I ate during pregnancy, Amanda responded loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Renee, you are being way too paranoid about this pregnancy thing," she announced to the entire table. "I ate whatever I wanted when I was pregnant with Emma and Jake, and they turned out fine. You need to relax and stop being so uptight about every little thing." Her comment made me feel foolish and overly cautious in front of our family. Several relatives nodded in agreement, suggesting that modern pregnancy guidelines were too restrictive compared to how women handled pregnancy in previous generations. I felt isolated and embarrassed, questioning whether my careful approach to pregnancy was actually excessive worry. Behind my back, Amanda began spreading rumors about my mental state to other family members. She told Margaret that I was obsessively worried about the pregnancy and letting anxiety control my life. She suggested to Robert that I was being dramatic and high maintenance about normal pregnancy experiences. These conversations were designed to make my legitimate concerns about her behavior seem like pregnancy-induced paranoia. During week 16, I asked Amanda to take maternity photos for me since she had a nice camera and had offered her photography services. She spent an entire afternoon positioning me in unflattering angles, using harsh lighting and taking dozens of photos that made me look awkward and uncomfortable. When she showed me the results on her camera's small screen, they looked terrible, but she assured me they would look better once edited. The next day, Amanda called me in tears, claiming that she had accidentally deleted all the photos while transferring them to her computer. "I am so sorry, Renee. I tried to recover them, but they are completely gone. Maybe we can try again sometime." I was devastated because those photos were meant to capture this special time in my life, and the timing of her mistake felt suspicious. 2 weeks later, I discovered that Amanda had organized a gender reveal party for our baby without telling me about it. I only found out when Emma mentioned the blue balloons at Grandma's house during a phone call. When I confronted Amanda about planning a party for my baby without including me, she acted shocked and apologetic. "Oh my gosh, I completely forgot to call you," she said with exaggerated surprise. "I was so busy planning everything that it slipped my mind. I thought David was going to tell you about it." But David knew nothing about the party either. When I expressed hurt and confusion about being excluded from my own baby's gender reveal, Amanda turned the situation around. "Honestly, Renee, these hormones are really making you sensitive about everything," she told other family members. She got upset about a simple party planning miscommunication. I think the pregnancy is affecting her emotional stability. Once again, my valid concerns were dismissed as hormonal overreactions, and Amanda positioned herself as the patient, understanding sister-in-law dealing with my difficult behavior. By my 24th week of pregnancy, Amanda's sabotage attempts had become more dangerous and deliberate. What happened next still sends chills down my spine when I think about it. Amanda showed up at my house one afternoon with a beautiful gift bag containing what she described as special herbal tea for pregnant women. "I found this amazing blend at the health food store," she explained enthusiastically. "The woman working there said it is perfect for pregnant women in their second trimester. It is supposed to help with energy and reduce stress." The packaging looked professional and legitimate, with organic certifications and natural ingredient labels that made it appear safe and beneficial. Amanda stayed for about an hour, watching me prepare and drink the first cup of tea. She seemed unusually interested in my reaction, asking multiple times how it tasted and whether I felt any effects. "You should drink this every day," she insisted. "The health benefits are amazing, and it will really help you feel better overall." That evening, I prepared another cup of the tea before dinner. Within 30 minutes, I was experiencing severe abdominal cramping that felt completely different from any normal pregnancy discomfort. The pain was sharp and intense, accompanied by nausea and dizziness. David rushed me to the emergency room as the cramping became unbearable. The medical team immediately began running tests to check on the baby's condition. During the examination, I mentioned the herbal tea to the doctor, thinking it might be relevant to my symptoms. The physician's expression changed dramatically when I described the tea and its effects. "Do you still have the package?" she asked urgently. David went home to retrieve it, while I underwent additional monitoring. When he returned with the tea package, the doctor examined the ingredient list, and her face went pale. "This contains pennyroyal," she explained. "That herb is extremely dangerous during pregnancy and can cause miscarriage. No pregnant woman should ever consume this." The medical team had to administer emergency treatment to counteract the effects of the pennyroyal and monitor the baby's condition for several hours. Fortunately, our daughter survived the incident, but the doctor warned that the outcome could have been much worse if I had consumed more of the tea or if we had waited longer to seek medical attention. When David confronted Amanda about the dangerous tea, she acted completely shocked and innocent. "I had no idea that ingredient was in there," she insisted. "The woman at the health food store assured me it was completely safe for pregnant women. I would never intentionally give Renee anything harmful." Her performance was convincing, filled with tears and apparent guilt about the accident. But I was beginning to see a pattern in these incidents that felt too convenient to be coincidental. The timing, the frequency, and the nature of Amanda's mistakes were adding up to something far more sinister than bad luck or innocent errors. The breakthrough in understanding Amanda's true motivations came from an unexpected source. One afternoon, while visiting Amanda's house, 5-year-old Emma was playing with her dolls in the living room, while Amanda and I chatted in the kitchen. Emma suddenly looked up from her toys and made a comment that stopped me cold. "Mommy, when Aunt Renee's baby comes, will Grandma Margaret stop loving me and Jake?" she asked innocently. Amanda quickly shushed her daughter, but Emma continued talking. "You said the new baby will take all the attention away from us, and Grandma will forget about her first grandchildren." Amanda's face turned red as she tried to redirect Emma's attention back to her toys, but the damage was already done. I realized that Amanda had been filling her children's heads with fears about being replaced by my baby, projecting her own insecurities onto them. Later that week, I had my suspicions confirmed in the most devastating way possible. I was visiting Margaret to help her plan the upcoming baby shower when I realized I had forgotten my phone in Amanda's car. Margaret suggested I use the landline in her study to call David. As I was walking toward the study, I overheard Amanda talking on her cell phone in Margaret's backyard. I cannot believe how much attention she is getting for this pregnancy, Amanda was saying to whoever was on the other end of the call. I have been the one giving them grandchildren for years, providing Emma and Jake to spoil and love. Now she comes along with her first pregnancy, and suddenly she is the golden child who can do no wrong. I quietly moved closer to the window, my heart pounding, as I listened to Amanda reveal her true feelings. You should see how Margaret and Robert fuss over her every symptom and doctor's appointment. When I was pregnant with Emma and Jake, they were supportive, but nothing like this level of obsession. Amanda continued her rant, and what I heard next made my blood run cold. I have been trying to make her realize that pregnancy is not all sunshine and rainbows, like she thinks it is. Someone needs to bring her back down to reality before she becomes even more insufferable about this whole thing. The person on the other end of the call must have asked for details because Amanda began describing her various sabotage attempts with pride rather than shame. The tea was supposed to give her a scare, make her realize how fragile this pregnancy really is. I researched herbs that could cause complications and found that pennyroyal blend online. The woman at the health food store had nothing to do with it. I was recording this conversation on my phone, my hand shaking as I captured evidence of Amanda's deliberate attempts to harm my baby and me. She continued talking, revealing more about her motivations and methods. She does not deserve to be a mother after struggling to get pregnant for 3 years, Amanda said, with venom in her voice. If she cannot conceive naturally and easily like normal women, maybe that is a sign that she is not meant to have children. I got pregnant with both my kids without any problems at all. When I confronted Amanda with the recording later that day, her mask finally slipped completely. Instead of denial or apologies, she exploded with rage and jealousy that had been building for months. "You do not deserve to be a mother," she screamed. "You cannot even get pregnant naturally. For 3 years, I gave this family their first grandchildren, and now you think you can just waltz in and steal all the attention with your precious miracle baby." Her words revealed the depth of her resentment and the extent to which she had planned her sabotage campaign. This was not a series of unfortunate accidents or well-meaning mistakes. Amanda had deliberately tried to harm my pregnancy because she could not handle sharing the spotlight as the family's mother figure. Armed with the recording of Amanda's confession and months of documented incidents, I knew it was time to take decisive action to protect my family and hold Amanda accountable for her dangerous behavior. I was no longer the confused, hurt sister-in-law wondering if she was imagining things. I was a mother-to-be who had nearly lost her baby due to deliberate sabotage, and I was ready to fight back. David and I scheduled a family meeting that included Margaret, Robert, Michael, and Amanda. I had prepared a detailed timeline of incidents, along with the audio recording as evidence. When everyone gathered in Margaret and Robert's living room, the atmosphere was tense because Amanda suspected she had been found out. I began by calmly explaining the pattern of Amanda's behavior over the past several months, starting with the subtle, undermining comments and escalating to the dangerous herbal tea incident. As I presented each piece of evidence, I watched the faces of our family members change from confusion to shock to horror. When I played the recording of Amanda's phone conversation, the room fell into stunned silence. Her voice, clear and unmistakable, confessed to deliberately trying to harm my pregnancy out of jealousy and resentment. Margaret began crying, Robert's face turned red with anger, and Michael looked at his wife as if he were seeing her for the first time. Amanda initially tried to deny everything, claiming the recording was taken out of context or edited to make her sound worse than she actually was. But when confronted with the mounting evidence and her own recorded words, she finally broke down and admitted to everything. "I worked so hard to give this family beautiful grandchildren," she sobbed. "Emma and Jake have been the center of everyone's attention for years. Then Renee gets pregnant, and suddenly I am chopped liver. Everyone acts like her baby is more special than my children just because she struggled to conceive." Her confession revealed the toxic jealousy that had been festering beneath her supportive facade. She admitted to researching ways to cause pregnancy complications, deliberately exposing me to dangerous foods, and even planning the pennyroyal tea incident to cause a miscarriage. Margaret and Robert were devastated to learn that their daughter-in-law had tried to harm their anticipated grandchild. "How could you do something so evil to someone we consider our own daughter?" Margaret asked through her tears. "We love Emma and Jake deeply, but that does not mean we cannot love another grandchild just as much." Michael was perhaps the most shocked of anyone because he had been living with Amanda without knowing her true nature. "I cannot believe the woman I married is capable of trying to kill an unborn baby out of jealousy," he said. "This changes everything about how I see you and our marriage." As a family, we decided that Amanda needed professional help to address her jealousy and mental health issues before she could have any contact with me or my baby. Michael supported this decision and threatened divorce if Amanda refused to seek therapy and make genuine changes. The immediate consequence was a complete no-contact rule between Amanda and me until after my baby was born. She was banned from all family gatherings where I would be present, and any communication had to go through David or Michael. This gave me the peace and safety I needed to focus on the remainder of my pregnancy without fear of further sabotage. Over the following months, I focused on healing from the trauma Amanda had caused while preparing for my daughter's arrival. The stress and fear from her sabotage attempts had taken a toll on my mental health, but with therapy and support from David and the rest of the family, I began to recover my sense of security and joy about becoming a mother. Sophia Margaret was born healthy and beautiful at 39 weeks, weighing 7 pounds and 2 ounces. David was an incredible birth partner and immediately fell in love with our daughter. Margaret and Robert were overjoyed to meet their new granddaughter and proved that their love for Emma and Jake had not diminished their capacity to love another grandchild. The early months of Sophia's life were peaceful and happy without Amanda's interference. I was able to enjoy the newborn phase without worrying about hidden dangers or subtle sabotage. David stepped into fatherhood, naturally helping with midnight feedings and diaper changes, while protecting our little family from any external drama. About 6 months after Sophia was born, I received a heartfelt letter from Amanda. She had been in therapy consistently and was finally beginning to understand the severity of her actions and the psychological issues that had driven her behavior. The letter included a genuine apology and acknowledgement of the harm she had caused. "I know I cannot undo the fear and pain I put you through during your pregnancy," she wrote. "My jealousy and insecurity turned me into someone I do not recognize, someone capable of truly evil actions. I am working hard in therapy to understand why I felt so threatened by your happiness and to make sure I never behave this way again." While I appreciated Amanda's apology and evidence of personal growth, I also understood that forgiveness would be a long process. Trust once broken so completely takes time to rebuild. I was willing to consider a careful, supervised reconnection in the future, but only after Amanda had proven through actions that she had genuinely changed. Looking back on this experience, I learned valuable lessons about protecting my family and recognizing toxic behavior even when it comes from people we love and trust. Jealousy can transform even close family members into dangerous enemies, and sometimes the people closest to us are capable of the most hurtful betrayals. I also learned that standing up for myself and my family is not selfish, but necessary. If I had continued to give Amanda the benefit of the doubt and ignored the warning signs, the consequences could have been much worse. Sometimes protecting your peace and your family means setting firm boundaries, even with people you once considered close. The most important lesson was that motherhood begins the moment you start protecting your child, even before they are born. My instinct to fight back against Amanda's sabotage was actually my maternal instinct kicking in, preparing me for a lifetime of advocating for my daughter's well-being and safety. Today, Sophia is a happy, healthy toddler who brings immense joy to our family. Amanda has continued her therapy and has made genuine efforts to rebuild relationships within the family. While we have had limited supervised contact, I remain cautious and protective of my daughter's well-being above all else. Sometimes the people closest to us can hurt us the most, but protecting your peace and your family always comes first. What would you have done in my situation? Have you ever experienced jealousy from family members during important life milestones? Let me know in the comments below because I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like to help other people who might be going through similar family drama. Do not forget to subscribe for more real-life stories about navigating complicated relationships and family dynamics. And please share this video with anyone who might benefit from hearing about the importance of protecting yourself during pregnancy. Thank you so much for listening to my story and for all your support. I hope you and your family stay safe and surround yourselves with people who celebrate your happiness instead of trying to sabotage it.